Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Adwaita Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishikam Vitam Scha Om Jnana Timarandasya Gyanajana Shalakaya Chakshuranidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Guraganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipunam Sri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Bidam Ujwalam Bharatanam Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Mande Vishwa Guruncha Divyat Bhagavat Prem Noe Bija Pranam Devam Divyat Tanum Suchandavananam Balarka Chilanshitam Sandrananda Puram Sadekavaranam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Bandetam Shivaram Mareka Sharanam Nyashishvara Shidaram Manchakopatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavenibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're continuing with our reading of Sri Chaitanya Bhagawat by Srila Vrindaban Das Thakur with commentaries of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And this is Antya-lila, chapter 9, the glories of Sri Adwaita Acharya. Okay. Jaya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ramakanta Jaya Sarva Vaishnavara Balaba Ekanta. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, the husband of the goddess of fortune. All glories to the only beloved Lord of all Vaishnavas. Jaya Jaya Kripamoy Sri Vaikuntanath Jiva Prati Kora Prabhu Shubha Drishtipat. All glories to the merciful Lord of Vaikuntha. O Lord, please glance mercifully on the living entities. Henamate Bhakta Goshti Ishwarer Sange Takila Paramanande Sankirtana Range. In this way all the devotees remain with the Lord, enjoying the ecstasy of Sankirtan. Jai Drabye Prabhu Prita Purve Sishukale Sakala Janena Taha Vaishnava Mandale. All the Vaishnavas knew what foodstuffs the Lord liked in his childhood. Se sab drabya sabe prema jukta hoya anijache jatasab prabhura lagiya. Therefore they all lovingly brought these items for offering to the Lord. From Bengal they brought many things. Se sab drabya priti koriya randan ishwarere asisha korana nimantran. The devotees would affectionately cook all those items and invite the Lord to accept their offering. Jedine che bhakta grihe hoy nimantran tahai parama prite korana bojan. Whenever the Lord was invited to the residence of a devotee, he would eat there with great affection. Sri Lakmira Amsha Chata Vaishnava Grihini Kibachitra Randana Korana Nahijani. All the wives of the Vaishnavas were expansions of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. Therefore, their cooking was so wonderful I cannot describe it. Nirabadi Sabar Nayane Premadar Krishnanama Paripurna Vadana Sabar. Their eyes were always filled with tears of love, and their mouths were always filled with the holy name of Krishna. Purve Ishwarera Priti Jay Sabhyanjane Navadipe Sri Vaishnavi Sabeta Hajane. Those Vaishnavis knew what vegetable preparations the Lord liked when he was previously in Navadip. Prema Joge Se Mata Korana Randan Prabhu O Parama Preme Korana Bojan. Therefore they cooked those preparations with love, and the Lord also ate all their offerings with great love. Ek Din Sri Adwaita Sima Mahamati Prabhure Bolila Aji Bhikka Korat Iti. One day the magnanimous lion-like Adwaita Acharya requested the Lord, please take your lunch at my house today. Mustjeka Tandula Prabhu Randiba Apan Hastamura Danyahao Tomara Bakane. I cook only a handful of rice. Please accept it so that my hands will become glorious. Prabhu Bole Jajan Tomara Anakai Krishna Bhakti Krishna Sei Paya Sarbatai. The Lord replied, whoever eats your rice certainly attains Krishna and his devotional service. Acharya Tomar Ane Amara Jivan Tumi Kao Jaile Hoy Krishna Rabojan. O Acharya, your rice is my life. Krishna certainly eats whatever you cook. Tumi Je Naivedya Kor Koriyarandan Magijao Kaitet Amar Tatiman. When you prepare an offering for Krishna, I'm ready to even beg for the remnants. Shunya Prabhur Bhakta Vatsalatabani Kiyanande Adwaita Basina Nahijani. Who can understand the ecstasy Adwaita felt when he heard such affectionate words from the Lord? Parama Santoshe Tabe Vishai Aila Prabhura Bhikara Sajja Korite Lagila. In great satisfaction, Adwaita then returned home and made arrangements for the Lord's meal. Lakmi Amshi Janma Adwaitera Pati Brata Lagila Korite Karya Hoy Harashita. Adwaita's chaste wife, who was an expansion of Lakshmi, began to joyfully prepare for cooking. Prabhora Pritera Dravya Godadesh Hoite Jata Anijachen Sab Lagila Dite. She gave Adwaita those items that were dear to the Lord that she had brought from Bengal. Randane Basila Sri Adwaita Mahashai Chaitanya Chandra Kori Ridoye Vijay. Sri Adwaita Mahashai then meditated on Lord Chaitanya as he sat down and began cooking. Patibrata Vyanjanera Paripati Kore Jateka Prakara Kore Jena Chite Sware. His chaste wife made preparations for cooking different vegetables according to the inspiration that manifested in her heart. Saki Ishwadera Bora Priti Ihajani Nana Saka Dilena Prakara Dasha Ani. She knew that the Lord was very fond of shak or spinach, so she gave Adwaita 10 varieties of shak she had brought. Acharya Randana Pati Brata Karya Kore Duijana Bashe Jena Ananda Sagare. Adwaita Acharya cooked and his chaste wife assisted. In this way they both floated in an ocean of happiness. Adwaita Bolen Shuna Krishna Dasar Mata Tomare Kahe Je Ami Ek Manakata. Adwaita said, O mother of Krishna Das, listen, let me tell you what I am thinking. The Krishna Das referred to herein is Krishna Mishra, the son of Adwaita Prabhu. Jatakichu e mora koreluns sambar konrupe prabhusab korana squikar. I don't know how, but I want the Lord to relish everything that we have cooked. Jari ashibena sanyasira goshti loya kichuna kaibatabi jani ami iha. If he comes along with the other sannyasis, I am certain he will not eat very much. Apekita jeta jeta mahanta sannyasi sabai prabhura sange bika korana ashi. Generally, all the sannyasis accompanied the Lord every day to take their meals. Sabai prabhure korana parama apeka prabhu sange sab ashe prite korana bika. They all have great respect for the Lord, so out of affection they take their meals with him. Adwaita chindena mane hena bakhoi ekeshwara prabhu ashe korana vijay. Adwaita thought, how nice are all these preparations, if only the Lord would come alone. Tabayani ihasab pare kao jaite e kamanas mora sida hoi kon mate. Then I could make him eat all these preparations, but how can I fulfill this desire of mine? Emata mani chinte Adwaita Acharya, Randana korana mani Babi Sekarya. Adwaita Acharya continued to think in this way as he cooked. Ishwara o Koriya Shanga Namera Grahan Madhyanadi Kriya Koribare Hoilaman. Meanwhile, the Lord completed the chanting of his fixed number of holy names and prepared to perform his noon duties. The phrase Shankyanam refers to chanting the holy names of the Lord a certain number of times, as opposed to chanting the holy name without counting. The word Grahan refers to counting. Jesab Sanyasi Prabhu Sange Bikakore Tarasab Chalila Madhyana Koribare. The sannyasis, who generally took their meal with the Lord, also went to perform their noon duties. Henakale Mahajada Brishtiya Chambite Arambila Deva Raja Advaiterahite. At that time, however, Indra, the king of the demigods, suddenly sent an intense shower of rain and strong winds for the satisfaction of Advaita. Shila Brishti Chaturdike Bhaje Janjan Asambhava Vatasha Rishtira Nahi Sima. Hailstones began to fall everywhere. The wind blew fiercely, and it rained without limit. Sarvadik Andakara Hoila Dulai Vashaya Jaitikeho Pata Nahipai. All the directions became so darkened with dust in the air that the sannyasis could not find the way to their residences. Hena jarabahe keho stira hoite nare keho nahi jane kota loya jai kare. The wind was so forceful that no one could stand still, and no one could understand what direction they were going. Sabe jata Sri Adwaita Korana Randan Tatamatra Hoy Alpa Jara Varishan. The area where Sri Adwaita was cooking, however, had only a little rain and wind. Chaitanyasi Bhikka Kore Prabhu Samhati Nahika Ude Shekaro Keba Gela Kati. The sannyasis, who generally took their meals with the Lord, got lost, and no one knew where they went. Aita Sri Adwaita Sima Koriya Randan Upaskari Tulena Sri Anabhyanjan. Meanwhile, the lion like Adwaita finished cooking and cleaned a spot where he placed the rice and vegetable preparations. Kritadari Dugdasar Navani Pishtaka Nanabida Sarkara Sundesha Kadalaka. He also set out ghee, yogurt, milk, cream, butter, pistak, a sweet preparation made with rice, varieties of sweets, sandesh, and bananas. Sabarupare diya tulasi manchari dhyane vasilena ani bari gorahari. After putting a tulsi manchari on each preparation, Adwaita sat down and meditated on bringing Gaurahari there. Ekeshwara Prabhu Aesena Janamate Emata Manijana Korana Adwaita. Adwaita meditated in such a way that the Lord would come alone. Satya Gaurachandra Advaitera Ichamoy Ekeshwara Mahaprabhu Korila Vijay. In fact, by the desire of Advaita, Sri Gaurachandra did come to his house alone. Hare Krishna, Bole Prema Suke, Pratyaka Hoila Ashi, Advaita Samuke. The Lord was chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in ecstasy. The Lord was chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in ecstatic love as he came before Advaita. Sambrame Advaita Parapadme Namaskari Asana Dilena Vasilena Gaurahari. Advaita offered respectful obeisances at the Lord's lotus feet, and then he offered a seat on which Gaurahari sat. Binasanga Keho Nahi Ishwara Kevala Dekiya Advaita Hoila Anande Vivala. Seeing that no one had come with the Lord, Advaita became overwhelmed with ecstasy. Harishe Korana Patni Sahite Sevan para prakaliya dena chandana vyanjan. Along with his wife, Adwaita happily washed the Lord's feet, offered him sandalwood pulp, and fanned him. Vasilena Gaurachandra Nanda Bochane Adwaita Korana Pariveshana Apane. Gaurachandra then happily sat down to eat, and Adwaita began to serve him. Jateka Vyanjana Dena Adwaita Harishe Prabhu O Korana Parigraha Prema Rase. The Lord accepted with love whatever vegetable preparation was joyfully offered to him by Adwaita. Jateka Vyanjana Prabhu Bhojana Koren Sakalera Kichu Kichu Abhashya Edena. Yet the Lord left a small portion of each vegetable preparation uneaten. The word Edena means saved as remnants or left behind. So Mahaprabhu left a little bit of each preparation. Advaitere Gaurachanda, Advaitere Gaurachandra, Bolena, Hasya, Kene Ere Vyanjana Janaha Tumi Iha. Gaurachandra then smiled and said to Advaita, Do you know why I'm leaving? Do you know why I'm leaving these remnants? Jateka Vyanjana Kai Chahi Janibar Ateva Kichu Kichu Ediye Sambar. I left a portion of each preparation behind because I want to see what preparations I have eaten. Hashya Bolen Prabhu Shunaha Acharya Kotaya Shikila Eta Randanera Karya. The Lord smiled as he asked, Listen, Acharya, where have you learned to cook all these preparations? Amita, Emata, Kabu Nahi Kais, Shak, Sakali Vichitra Jata Korijachabak. I've never before eaten such shak. Whatever you have cooked is wonderful. Jata Dena Sri Adwaita Prabhu Sabkai Bhakta Bansha Kalpataru Sri Gorangarai. The Lord ate whatever Adwaita offered, for Lord Gauranga is like a desire tree, fulfilling all the desires of his devotees. Dadi Dugda Gritasar Sandesh Apar Jatadena Prabhu Sab Korana Swabikar. The Lord accepted the yogurt, milk, ghee, cream, sandesh, and whatever else was given by Adwaita. Bhojana Korana Sri Chaitanya Bhagavan Adwaita Simhara Kari Adwaita Simhara Kori Purna Manaskam Bhojana Korana Sri Chaitanya Bhojana Koran Sri Chaitanya Bhagavan Adwaita Simhara Kori Purna Manaskam. In this way the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya took his meal and satisfied the desires of the lion-like Adwaita. Paripurna Hoila Jadi Prabhura Bhojan Takane Adwaita Kore Indrera Staban. As the Lord was finishing his meal, Adwaita began offering prayers to Indra. Aji Indra Janilun Tomara Anubab Aji Janilana Tumi Nischai Vaishnav. O Indra, today I have come to know your prowess. Today I have come to know that you are certainly a Vaishnava. The word Anubhav means influence or glories. Aji hoite tomare divana pushpaja Aji Indra tumi more kinila kevala. From today, Indra, I will offer you water and flowers, for today you have certainly purchased me. Because he made all that rain and hail that kept everyone else away. Prabhu bole Aji Jai Indrara borastuti ki hetu iha Kaha deki mor prati. The Lord inquired, Why are you offering nice prayers to Indra today? Please tell me. Adwaita bolen tumi koraha bojan ki karya tomara iha korya shravan. Adwaita replied, You just eat. There's no need for you to hear about this. Prabhu bole arakeni lukau acharya jada Jata Brishti Sab Tomari Se Karya. The Lord said, O Acharya, why are you trying to hide the truth? The rain and winds that came were all your doing. Jadera Sanaya Nahe Tabe akasmat mahajara mahabrishti mahashilapat. This is not the season for strong winds, yet strong winds, intense rain, and a great hailstorm suddenly appeared. Tumi icha korea se a sab utpata koraya achataha bujila sakata. I have understood without doubt that all these disturbances were arranged by your will. Jelagi indrara dwara koraila iha tahakahi e ami midita korea. I will now explain why you had Indra do all this. Sanyasera sange ami korile bojan kichuna kaibami e tomaraman. You thought that if I came with the sannyasis, I would not eat very much. Ekeshwara aile se amare sakal kaljaya nij icha koriba safa. But if I came alone, you could fulfill your desire by feeding me everything you cooked. Ateva e sakala utpata srijya ishedile nyasi gan mani agyadiya. Therefore you created all these disturbances to stop the other sannyasis from coming. Indra agya kori e tomara kon shakti bhagya se indraraje tomare kori bhakti. The fact that Indra carried out your order does not demonstrate your actual potency. It was his good fortune that he got an opportunity to serve you. Krishnana Koranachara Sankalpa Anyata Jay Korite Pare Krishna Sakat Sarvata. Even Lord Krishna does not refuse your request. You are able to make him appear anywhere. Krishna Chandra Jarabhakya Korana Palan Ki Adbhuta Tari E Jara Varishan is arranging for some wind and rain wonderful for one whose words are respected by Krishna Chandra. Jamakala Mrityu Jara Agya Shiridore Jarapara Banshe Jogeshwara Munishware Jaitoma Smarane Sarvabandha Vimochan Ki Vichitratari E Jaravarishan is arranging some wind and rain wonderful for one whose order Yamaraj, time and death carry on their head, whose lotus feet are desired by the best of the yogis and munis, and by remembering whom one is freed from all bondage. Toma Jani Hena Jana Keache Samsare Tumikripa Korile Se Bhakti Faud Dare. Who in this world knows you perfectly? Only by your mercy can one get the fruit of devotional service. Advaita bolan to me sebaka batsal kaya mano bhakti ami dori eba. Advaita said, you are very affectionate to your servants. I desire strength because I have accepted this fact with my body, mind, and words. No, Advaita said, you are very affectionate to your servants. I derive strength because I have accepted this fact with my body, mind, and words. Because I've accepted it. Mahaprabhu, you are affectionate to your servants, therefore I derive strength with my body, mind, and words. Sarvakala sima ami tora bhakti bole ebara more na chadiba kun kale. May I always remain as powerful as a lion by the strength of devotional service to you. Please give me the benediction that you will never abandon me. Emata Dui Prabhu Bhakko Bhakya Barase Bhojana Sampurna Hoila Ananda Visheshe. In this way the two Prabhus relished their discussion as the Lord happily finished his meal. Advaitara Sri Mukara E Sakalakata Satya 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 Ite Nahika Anyata. The statements coming from Advaita's lotus mouth are all certainly true. There is no other possibility. Shunite Esab Gata Jara Pritanoi Se Adama Advaitera Adrishtya Nischai. Anyone who does not relish hearing this narration is the lowest of men and will certainly be bereft of Advaita's merciful glance. Since Sri Adwaita Prabhu desired to become happy by feeding Sri Mahaprabhu alone, Indra, the king of the demigods, created a natural calamity to stop the other sannyasis from coming. As a result, Mahaprabhu came alone and Adwaita Prabhu felt satisfaction by feeding him. This topic was revealed by Sri Adwaita Prabhu to his own servants. But some people who do not accept Adwaita Prabhu as an unalloyed servant of Mahaprabhu do not approve of such factual incidents. Rather, they consider Sri Gaurasundar subordinate to Sri Adwaita and thus endeavor to modify the service attitude of Adwaita Prabhu. Although such ignorant materialistic people identify themselves as followers of Adwaita, they are not to be seen. In other words, if one desires to see the face of such a person, one would have to purify himself from that bad association by taking bath in the Ganges. So there's some persons, it mentions here, who worship Advaita, but they don't worship Mahaprabhu. So that's what Vrindaban Das Thakur's, well, that's what Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is talking about in his purport. Hari Shankarera Jena Prita Satyakata Abuddha Prakrita Jane Na Bunje Sarvata. The bond of love between Hari and Shankar is factual, yet it cannot be understood by ignorant materialistic persons. So, first of all, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's purport is about Adwaita Acharya. I believe he had 6 sons, and 3 of them followed him, and Achyutananda is the best, and they were all followers of Mahaprabhu. The other 3 sons deviated, and they really didn't accept Mahaprabhu properly, and that's what's being referred to in the purport. Then also, here it says, the bond of love between Hari and Shankar is factual, yet it cannot be understood by ignorant materialistic persons. So here, this is a reference to the fact that Vrindaban Das Thakur considers Mahaprabhu expansion of Vishnu. He considers him to be an incarnation, which is a little different than what Krishna Das Kaviraj says, because Krishna Das Kaviraj doesn't consider Mahaprabhu to be an avatar, he considers him to be avatari. That's non-different from Krishna, the source of all incarnations. Then it's referring to Hari, which is Mahaprabhu, and Shankar, because Vrindaban Das Thakur considers the Adwaita Acharya to be Sadashiva. But Krishna Das Kaviraj refers to Adwaita Acharya as Mahavishnu. They're not so, Srila Sridhar Maharaj explained, these 2 ideas are not so different because Shankar and Mahavishnu are very closely related in the sense that Mahavishnu glances over the material nature, but he doesn't actually touch the material nature. So his glance comes out as Shambhu, as Shiva. Anyway, here it says, Hari Shankarera Jena Prita Satyakata Abuddha Prakrita Jane Na Buje Sarvata. The bond of love between Hari and Shankar is factual, yet it cannot be understood by ignorant materialistic persons. So this refers to the relationship between Mahaprabhu and Adwaita Acharya. Ekera aprite hoy dohara prita harikore jena tena Chaitanya Adwaita. If someone displeases either of them, they will both be displeased. The same relationship between Hari and Shankar was manifested between Lord Chaitanya and Adwaita. So if someone pleases either Hari, displeases either Hari or Shankar, the other one will be displeased also. So, Nirabadi Adwaita e sabgatakai jagatera tranalage kripalu ridoi. The kind-hearted Adwaita Prabhu always described these topics for the deliverance of the world. Advaitera Bhakya Bhuchi Bara Shakti Jara Janiya Ishwara Sange Vedana Hitara. One who is able to understand Advaita's statements knows that there is no difference between him and the Supreme Lord. As stated, Advaitam Harina Advaita Acharyam Bhakti Samsanat Bhaktavataram Isham Tam Advaita Acharyam Ashray. Because he is non-different from Hari, the Supreme Lord, he is called Advaita. And because he propagates the cult of devotion, he is called Acharya. He is the Lord and the incarnation of the Lord's devotee. Therefore, I take shelter of him. Now this is a reference, this in the purport as a reference to Krishnadas Kaviraj's, well, it's a reference to the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Advaitam Harinadvaitad Acharyam Bhakti Samsanat Bhaktavataram Isham Tam Advaita Charyam Ashray. Because he is non-different from Hari, the Supreme Lord, he is called Advaita. And because he propagates the cult of devotion, he is called Acharya. He is the Lord and the incarnation of the Lord's devotee, therefore I take shelter of him. Bhakti Kore Jai Shunaye Esab Akyan Krishna Bhakti Hoetara Sarvatra Kalyan. Anyone who hears these pastimes with devotion will achieve the most auspicious devotional service of Lord Krishna. Advaita Simhara Kori Purna Manaskam Vashaya Chalila Sri Chaitanya Bhagavan. After fulfilling the desire of the lion-like Advaita, Lord Chaitanya returned to his residence. Emata Shriva Sadi Bhaktagan Gare Vika Kore Sabare Purnakam Kore. In this way the Lord accepted meals at the houses of Srivas and other devotees and thereby fulfilled their desires. Sarvagoshti Loy Nirabadi Sankirtan Nachayena Nachen Apane Anukan. The Lord would gather all his devotees and constantly engage in Sankirtan. He would continually dance and induce others to dance. Damodar Pandit Are Deki Bare Giyachila Ai Deki Aila Satvare. After going to Navadip to see Mother Sachi, Damodar Pandit quickly returned to Nilachala. Damodar Deki Prabhu Aniya Nibrite Aira Vritanta Lagilena Jigyasite. When the Lord saw Damodar, he took him to a secluded place and inquired from him about Mother Sachi. Prabhu Bole Tumije Achila Tanya Kache. Prabhu Bole Tumije Achila Tanakache Satyakaha Airaki Vishnu Bhakti Ache. The Lord asked, you stayed with my mother, now tell me the truth. Does she have devotion to Lord Vishnu? Paramata Tapasvi Nirapeka Damodar Shuni Krode Lagilena Korite Uttar. On hearing this question, Damodar Pandit, who was very austere and impartial, became angry and replied, Ki Bolila Gosai Aira Bhakti Ache Iha O Jigyasa Prabhu Tumikom Kaje. O Lord, what did you say? O Lord, what did you say? Are you asking whether your mother has any devotion? Aira Prasade Se Tomara Vishnu Bhakti Jatakichu Tomar Sakala Tara Shakti. It is by your mother's mercy that you have devotion for Vishnu. Whatever you have is by her potency. Jateka Tomara Vishnu Bhakti Rudai Aira Prasade Sab Shaniya Nischai. Know for certain that whatever devotion for Vishnu you have is by her mercy. Ashukampa Sveda Murcha Pulaka Hunkar Chateka Achaya Vishnu Bhakti Rabikar Kaneka Aira Dehe Nahika Vishram Nirabadi Shri Bharane Sware Krishnanam. Transformations of love for Vishnu like crying, shivering, perspiring, fainting, standing up hairs on end and loud roaring are constantly visible on the body of Mother Sachi, and she is always chanting the holy name of Krishna. Aira Bhaktira Kata Jigyasa Gosai Vishnu Bhakti Jari Bole Said Deka I. Lord, you have asked about the devotion of Mother Sachi. There's Mother Sachi, who is addressed as devotional service to Vishnu. Murti Mati Bhakti Ai Kohila Tomare Janiao Mayakori Jigyasa Amare. I tell you, she is the embodiment of devotional service to Vishnu. Although you know this, you ask me as if you did not know. Prakritas Shabde O Jeba Bolibeka I Shabda Prabhave Tahara Dukanai. If even someone who considers the word I an ordinary word utters this word, by the influence of that sound he is freed from all distress. Damodar Mukhe Shuni Aira Mahima Gorachandra Prabhur Anandera Nahisima. On hearing the glories of Mother Sachi, from the mouth of Damodar Pandit, the happiness of Lord Gorachandra increased without limit. When the Lord asked Damodar Pandit how much devotion to Krishna his mother had after being separated from her son, Damodar Pandit glorified the devotional activities of Sachi Devi. When Mahaprabhu heard this, he became extremely joyful. Damodar Panditare Dori Premarase Puna Puna Alingana Korana Santoshe. Absorbed in the mellows of ecstatic love, the Lord repeatedly embraced Damodar Pandit without Absorbed in the mellows of ecstatic love, the Lord repeatedly embraced Damodar Pandit with satisfaction. Aji Damodara Tumi Amare Kinila Monera Britanta Jata Amare Kohila. O Damodar, today you have purchased me, for you have confirmed what was in my heart. Jatakichu Vishnu Bhakti Sampati Amar Aira Prasade Sab Dvida Nahidar. Whatever acid of the devotion to Vishnu I have is by my mother's mercy. There is no doubt about it. So sometimes we see Mahaprabhu, or what to speak, even Govinda Maharaj, or the spiritual master. Sometimes they ask someone questions to test them, to see what, to see what they really were like or what they really thought. Because Mahaprabhu already knew that his mother had devotion, but he asked Damodar Pandit, well, does my mother have devotion? Then Damodar Pandit becomes angry and says, of course she has devotion. Whatever devotion you have, you got from her. So then Mahaprabhu was happy to hear Damodar speak like that. But sometimes, sometimes a spiritual master or Mahaprabhu, they ask the question to see just what you're thinking, They say, oh, what do you think about this? But they already have their opinion made, but they want to see what you're thinking about it. Many times it's like that. Takane ichai ami achom prativite tanarina ami kabu nariva shudite. I am living in this world by her will, therefore I will never be able to repay her. I stane bada ami shuna damodar aire dekite ami achi nirandar. O Damodar, please listen. I am always bound by her affection, and I always see her. Damodar Panditara Prabhu Kripa Kori Bhakti Goshti Sange Vasi Lena Gorahari. After blessing Damodar Pandit in this way, Gorahari sat down with his devotees. Aira Jai Bhakti Ache Jigyase Ishware Se Kevalam Shikha Karajena Jagatare. The Lord inquired about Mother Sachi's devotion. The Lord's inquiry about Mother Sachi's devotion was only to teach the people of this world. It is to be understood that Mahaprabhu's pastime of inquiring from Damodar about Sachi Devi's devotion to Krishna was meant for teaching people. This pastime was manifested to reveal how affectionately the Lord's servants serve him and how the Lord becomes controlled by their love. Bandhavera Bharta Chena Jigyase Bandhave Kaha Bandhu Sab Ki Kushale Ache Sabe. Person sometimes inquires from his friend, please tell me, are our friends doing well? Kushala Shabdera Arta Vyaktera Koribare bhaktiyachi kori varta loyena sabare. But the Lord revealed the actual meaning of the word kushala, or well, by inquiring whether a person had devotion. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, so in other words, instead of asking, oh, is this person well? Mahaprabhu inquired, does this person have devotion? That means by glorifying that person's devotion, you're showing that that person's well. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prithu Maharaj speaks the following words, Bhavatsu kushala prashna atmarameshu neshyate kushala jatra nashanti mativritaya. My dear sirs, there is no need to ask about your good and bad fortune because you are always absorbed in spiritual bliss. The mental concoction of the auspiciousness and inauspiciousness does not exist in you. In this Bhagavat Dharparya commentary in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Madhvacharya quotes the Naradiya Purana as follows: Ati utamanam kushala prashno loka sukhe chaya nitya dapta sugatvatu natesham yujate kwachi. Exalted persons inquire about people's well-being to make them happy. Otherwise, they are not too concerned about the happiness of their own people. Exalted persons inquire about people's well-being to make them happy. Otherwise, they are not too concerned about the happiness of their own people. In his Bhagavad Tatparya commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, Madhvacharya quotes the Padma Purana as follows: Lokanam sukha kartritvam apeksha kushalam vivo prichyate santatanandat katam tasyena prichyate. Inquiries about people's well-being are made to make people happy. That is why they are always done joyfully and in relationship to the Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam it is stated, Nanvara mayi kurvanti kushala svarta darshina ahaitiki avyavahitam bhaktim atma priyayata. Certainly, expert personalities who can see their own true interests render unmotivated and uninterrupted devotional service directly unto me, for I am most dear to their soul. In the Srimad Bhagavatam it is stated, Yashasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvar gunaish tatra samasate sura aravabhaktasya kuto mahadguna manoratena sati davato bahi. In one who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna, all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods are consistently manifest. However, one who has no devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no good qualifications because he is engaged by mental concoction and material existence, which is the external feature of the Lord. Bhakti yoga take tabe sakala kusho bhakti bina raja hoile o amangal. If someone has devotion, then everything is well. But without devotion, even the position of a king is inauspicious. Okay? So. Dana kushala boga jara achaye saka bhakti jara naitara saba amangal. If one has wealth, fame, and material enjoyment, but is bereft of devotion, then everything is inauspicious. Adyakadya nahijar daridrera anta vishnu bhakti takile se danavanta. And if one is so poor that he has no food for a day, but he has devotion to Lord Vishnu, then he is the richest person. Okay. Tomorrow I'll continue from this point. How are you?
Good, Maharaj. How are you doing?
Okay. Anyway, I have this request to the devotees: before you go anywhere, before you do anything, consult the Vaishnava calendar and see that where you're going or what you're doing. You know, if there's some important day, don't miss that day. I don't care if it's your mother's birthday or your father's birthday or you know. I mean, I don't know what to say. Maybe I shouldn't talk about this, but I was in Navadip, and after Govinda Maharaj passed away, we were waiting for 11 days after that for the glorification of Govinda Maharaj. And during that time I received a notice that my mother was dying. And somebody told me, and even one of the Indian devotees told me, oh, you should go back, your mother's dying. And I said, no, I won't leave before the celebration of Srila Govinda Maharaj's passing is over. I wait 11 days, and they'll have the celebration for Govinda Maharaj, and then I will go back, but not before. And it was true, my mother was dying. So then after that, I got a reservation. I got on a plane. When I landed in San Francisco, I called my brother. My mother lived like 3 or 4 hours from there. I called my brother. I said, is my mother still alive? And he said, no, she just died a couple hours ago. So, I mean, I would have liked to have been there before she passed away, but I wasn't going to leave my spiritual master's celebration of his departure to go see my mother before she passed away. I had to be there for Govinda Maharaj's disappearance celebration. No doubt I would have given anything. I would have paid money to see my mother before she died, but I couldn't do it. So, but I have to consider, what are my priorities? My priorities are my devotion to my spiritual master and devotional service. And that doesn't mean I don't have any affection for my parents or my brother and sister. I have affection for all of them. Just like on the altar here, there are different deities. It's not that you just love one person. You can love many persons. I love, we're trying to have love, not just for, we have love for Mahaprabhu, we had love for Gandharvika, we have love for Giridhari, we try to have love for them. We have love for, Srila Govinda Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Janardan Das Babaji. We're everyone. Have love. It doesn't, just because you love one person doesn't mean you can't love everyone. That was something that they didn't understand. Some people said, oh, you're a disciple of Prabhupada, how can you follow Srila Guru Maharaj? And then my thing is, how can I not follow Guru Maharaj? Just because I'm a disciple of Prabhupada doesn't mean I don't have love for all my teachers. People think that love is one-dimensional or devotional service. They don't understand. Service is not just that you do some work. I cut down I clean the temple, or I clean the dishes, and then my service is done. No, service means we'll do whatever. Now I appreciate that devotees are working hard. They built this road, they did so many things, we're getting ready for Govinda Mela. But I want, everything to go on in the temple. That's my feeling. So, you people out there, you can hear this too. People out there in Facebook land. Do I have any love for Facebook? I don't know. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Vrinudaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah. Jaisa Parikara Shishi Guru Goranga Gandharvika Giridhari Juki Jayam Vishnupan Paramansa Bharabhaja Acharya Astadhara Sada Shishi Man Shila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupan Paramansa Bharabhaja Acharya Astadhara Sada Shishi Man Shila Bhakti Rakshira Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Bhagavan Shila Bhakti Sunanda Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupan Srila Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupan Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupan Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Sri Rupa Sanatana Bhakta Ragana Sri Jiva Gopal Bhadra Dasha Ragana Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Prabhu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Adwaita Acharya Harshi Vasudeva Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai Srila Vrindaban Das Thakur Ki Jai Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Vishwavarenya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai Nanda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Navadev Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Ki Jai Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai Saparshada Shri Mahaprabhu Ki Jai Shri Kaladip Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai Soquel Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Sevasham Ki Jai Ganga Devi Ki Jai Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Vrindaban Dham Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Kulindi Yamuna Jiva Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai all the assembled devotees Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol
Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai.
Okay, can you I have a question.